Common Courtesy with Sean Nicholas. I have to agree with everyone as well because deadass, one, I fucking run because Nikki Prue
can't say anything to him because you snooped. You should just be moved out already. Like, in my opinion, this woman should already.
Angelique Young.
And I would have even told them about the money when I got there. I said I only found X, Y, and Z minus the ATM money I withdrew.
Ivan Alexander.
You have to be able to accept what you found and then make a decision from there. Don't go crying to Dear Abby about it or your friends. Make up your mind. Put your big girl change.
And Dr. Christina Palin.
If someone like Britney Spears goes through something like this for 13 years where she's completely blocked.
Yay! Everybody's all here. I'm so excited.
Tonight's topics. We get into the Dave Chappelle controversy over his Netflix special, The Closer. After that, we react to the Facebook whistleblower. Is there any validity in what she says? After that, a woman writes into Dear Abby about first date jitters. This is Common Courtesy. Let's start the conversation. Hey guys, and welcome back to Common Courtesy. I'm your host and moderator, Sean Nicholas. Along with me, I have my dancing co-host. I have Ivan Alexander. How are you tonight?
I'm back. Have a good time.
I see that, and we're all back. And joining us tonight, we have a very special guest co-host. We have my friend Brandy. How are you?
Hi. Doing good.
Good. Welcome to the panel. So we have a lot of fun things to talk about tonight because I've been away for a while and the show's been away for a while. And one of the first things I wanted to get into was Dave Chappelle and, the controversy that's surrounding his latest special, The Closer. So I want to kind of play the clip from that and get on topic.
I am not saying that to say that trans women aren't women. I am just saying that they got. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's not, but that's like beyond impossible.
We as trans people and non-binary people aren't getting visibility or respect in the entertainment industry to begin with, and to have something like Dave Chappelle's special not be noted that it's promoting discrimination and hate conversation is very hurtful to the activism and the cause that we're trying to progress ourselves in the industry.
So there was a massive backlash from the trans community after this special came out, and people called it transphobic. There's a lot of things he said about everyone in that special. So I just kind of want to go to you guys. How did you feel about it and the protests afterwards? Because there was a protest. I think it was organized by Ashley Marie Preston. She helped the hashtag Netflix walkout protest for this. They were asking for more trans and non-binary people to be executives and more stories having a more positive light on trans lives and things like that. But I kind of want to go to Ivan. Ivan, how did you feel after watching this special? Did you feel that it was he being discriminatory, or how do you feel?
Well, here's my thing, okay? And you told me what the topic was going to be, and I told you that night I'm going to watch this show just to make sure I'm on top of it and I know what's going on with it. Okay, first of all, it's Dave Chappelle. So you got to know that Dave Chappelle is not going to come out and be Mr. He's not going to follow the rules except for what rules he makes up. So for me personally, I think Dave Chappelle did what Dave Chappelle does. It's like when they hired Roseanne for the Star Spangled Banner. Did you really expect Celine Dion? No. If you did, you're crazy. And I'll probably get backlash from this personally. Maybe it's because I'm on the older side, but okay, if you're trans, you're trans. This whole non-binary thing and all these pronouns, he, they, she, me, whatever. Look, first and foremost, my name is Ivan. Call me Ivan. If your name is Sean, I'm gonna call you Sean. If you represent and present yourself as a woman, I have no problem with that. Okay, but as far as it saying that he was being, transphobic and he was being this and that, the man was doing comedy and the audience was laughing at his comedy. So there is a lot to say about comedy when people are offended on one side but laughing on the other side. It's just the way of the world. Now, I mean, again, I don't want to offend anybody, but if I do, hey, honestly, I have my views, you have your views. It's not my intent to intimidate or upset somebody or make them feel any kind of certain way. But in all honesty, and she's probably going to kill me for saying this, obviously, because when you invited me to do the show, I'm like, okay, we've got some cool people here and everything else. You could not have told me that Angelique was trans. I thought she was straight up woman right off the bat. Okay, so my whole thing is, I mean, literally, to me, it doesn't matter what you did, what you were, the whole 9 yards. I accept you for who you are at face value. And if that's what you project and that's who you project, I'm fine with it. But not a lot of people are that way. So the whole Dave Chappelle thing and people walking out of the office and everything else, I just think it's a little bit overkill to a degree. Again, it's Dave Chappelle. He's going to do what he does. So I wasn't really shocked by it. Some of the stuff I like, whoa, that's a bit much. But then again, it's Dave Chappelle.
Brandy, I'm gonna go to you. Brandy, how did you feel after watching the special? And did you feel, as Ivan said, do you feel that he was being transphobic throughout this?
So I watched the most recent one, and he was explaining different things, and I think that it was very interesting because it's like he's the type of person, he makes fun of everybody, himself, anybody, everything, and I'm kind of the same way. I don't get offended easily. I make fun of myself. I make fun of everybody. I think that it's a comedy special. And I think that the biggest thing is that we forget that it's an art form. And I'm a creative person. I don't want anyone to tell me how I have to do something. And I feel like when we get to that point, a slippery slope, because we start to tell someone how they can perform their art form. And I don't think that it was necessarily hate speech. I don't think he was calling for anyone's death or anything crazy like that. I think he was making jokes, and I think that when we get to the point where we can't laugh at ourselves or we can't laugh at certain issues, we start to be on a slippery slope. He's never going to be PC. That's not who he is, and I think that that's to be accepted. But I also think, to be devil's advocate about it, if you were to see, and he was very transparent, he's like, I don't dislike the LGBTQ community. He's like, my issue is really with white people. And he's like, that's always been the one group I go after. But you haven't seen white people walking out of the Netflix office or doing protests or anything like that, even though they absolutely know when they go to a Chappelle show that they are going to be, nailed hard, which they should and everybody else should. It's comedy. Like, just laugh and get the stick out of your butt. Like, if you don't want to hear comedy, then don't go to a comedy show. The same way I don't go to certain places. I don't want to be around certain places. That's his platform. And I think he should be able to do with what he wants. There's a difference of hate speech and being a comedian.
So I thought I was gonna have the dissenting opinion on this, but I don't know. Because I have to agree with everyone, what everyone had just said, because honestly, you have to have a kind of a thick skin. And I've heard people say worse things about our community than, what was said during this special, because I think that, it's all of what to do about nothing. Because I went and watched the special and I was waiting to hear the big, aha, gotcha moment. And for me, it never happened. I'm hell, I don't really, but I can't say that I'm, I understand everyone's feelings. I can't say that what offends me that should offend someone else, or vice versa. So the validity of this whole conversation is that some people were hurt, and they felt the need to speak on this, and not only speak on it, go out and protest about it. And like I said, I didn't really see anything that was really bad. He said the N-word with the hard R throughout all of his comedy, and
which I don't like anyway. So I'm not down with the whole use of the N-word anyway. So again, not a fan of Chappelle, but he's going to speak the way he speaks and say what he's going to say. So either you suck it up or move on. That's all. I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I mean, I wouldn't pay to see him in a concert format setting because it doesn't appeal to me. But I watched it on TV because I streamed it, so no big deal.
Right. I mean, I think it goes down to that. Like, if you're gonna follow anything, you're gonna follow Dave Chappelle, then that's what you're gonna follow. But I think you should know what you're getting into when you're seeing someone
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
him.
I think we've
If you're
heard worse from our politicians and other people on a national platform than we have out of Dave
absolutely,
Chappelle's mouth. We
Right.
just had a president. Like, can we talk about it? Like, the things that people have said and things people continue to say that marginalize our group is not from Dave Chappelle. It's
Hmm.
from people that people vote blindly in. And we've got to worry about that. That's what's going to incite riots. That's what's going to hurt people and put people in jail and get people murdered. Not something a comedian says on a platform. That's his own.
The sheeple will
absolutely.
follow, is what I say. Let the
Yeah,
sheeple
because I
follow.
mean, look what Trump did, and now what's going on with
Hmm.
the January 6th investigation. We should be talking more about that than what Dave Chappelle had to say. And you know what? Like honestly, I think there's a positive light, this a positive spin, if you can say with this, that people came out and they're talking about, you know, um, more trans stories and inclusion, and I agree
Hmm.
with that. That's the one thing I would agree with. But as far as attacking him and saying he's a transphobe, I don't believe that. I just don't see it. Like, yeah, he had a real problem with white people. He said it throughout the entire special. I don't think he
Right.
was being facetious. Like even when he used the term turf, I think he was being facetious. With that, making fun of like J.K. Rowling for what she thinks. But I do think that if anything that was problematic for me was the fact that he said gender and not biological sex. I think that is what we are misunderstanding, and that's what the world's misunderstanding. What we're learning now is that like gender is like what one thinks themselves is, and what versus what is on the outside, and like your biological sex is what you're born as. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know
He
if you
said
guys
some
agree
really
with that.
interesting things, though, that I
But
thought
but he brought things to light,
were,
like you're saying. Though he did bring things to light to make people think as well as
yeah.
some people he offended. So there's always something that comes out of comedy or something that offends people. There's always something, a learning experience in there somewhere. So hopefully some people got that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. He definitely said some things like he made a very important thing where he said gay people are minorities until they need to be white, which I have personally seen a lot of LGBTQ people that put their whiteness over minorities or trans people of color and do that all the time. And that was very interesting. Or he called out Caitlyn Jenner and he did all these things that it makes you go, interesting. Or he said, can LGBTQ be racist within their own minority? And it was very interesting to think about.
yeah. I mean, like I said, like there was a lot of things that to me, I think Dave Chappelle pushes the limit. And there's like artful comedians who like toe the line. I think he does that very well, because he makes you think about things like Brandy just said. I heard that comment as well. I heard a lot of
Hmm.
comments. He said he made
Hmm.
comments about Asian people and the coronavirus, and people
Hmm.
spitty about that. He brought that up. So I mean, for me, I just recently read, the lead actor of Shang-Li. He did an article in Men's Health, and what he was saying, I'm like, wow, I can very much relate to it. But these stories aren't being said, and I think the positive thing is that there's a push for more stories for like Black trans and just everyone in the community to be included into the stories that Netflix is pushing. And speaking of Facebook, I kind of wanted to talk about this whistleblower, Frances Haugen. She came out with what's now called the Facebook Files. I think she released this first to the Wall Street Journal, and then she did a 60-minute interview, and she testified in front of Congress. And here's a little bit of what she said about that.
But I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people.
So that's kind of want to go to you guys. Like, do you think Facebook is, guilty of this? Are they actually putting their bottom line before people's safety? Do you think that she also said that Instagram is harmful to teenage girls who have body image issues? Do you think it's just Facebook's fault solely? Brandy, I'm gonna go to
No,
you first. I'm sorry.
no, not at all. I think it's an issue of, first off, when it comes to kids and body issues, is I have a degree in advertising, and the one thing that I notice on an advertising stand is that we show women in so many, like, it's over sexualized, and only now are we seeing some full frontals of men in movies and advertisements and video games and all this stuff, that it's like, have you not been turning on the TV? You think that Facebook is the first thing? And first off, you can restrict your child's access just like you would any app or anything like that. You have to be a parent first and foremost. You can't expect Facebook to be a parent for you.
Okay, and Ivan, let me go to you. You think, is there any validity in what Francis is saying? You know, was there a aha gotcha moment for you, or what do you think?
Well, actually, no, because this is going to be the aha gotcha moment for you. Because unbeknownst to you and the crew, I used to be a supervisor at a place called Cognizant. I don't know if you know that name, but we were actually the Facebook police. We were moderators. We saw what you didn't get to see, unless, of course, it slipped out. So the beheadings, the different things with sexually explicit things, everything you weren't supposed to see that artificial intelligence couldn't get, we as humans had to see it and remove it before it got to the platform. Facebook is about the money. It always has been. It always will be. The profits are ridiculous. And the things that we had to go through as moderators, there's tons of lawsuits out there. There are people that are damaged literally mentally from seeing the different things that we had to see as moderators. To give you an example, when I first went there, I said, look, if I'm laughing at it, it should probably come off the platform. Because I believe in the sarcasm and the blood, guts, and gore and everything. Oh my God, I can't believe you just saw that. But they have their community standards that are supposed to protect people. But you have to remember, it's on a global basis. So what I might find offensive here in the US may not be offensive in India, may not be offensive in Africa. And what I find what they find offensive over there may not be offensive for us. So on a global platform, it's really kind of hard to say that what you do is going to be fair and equitable for everybody. But no matter what it comes down to, it all boils down to the money. Follow the money. It's all about the bucks.
I have to agree with that.
So there you go. Boom. Yes, Facebook moderation. We were the Facebook police. Although we were under contract, we couldn't tell anybody that. But now that the Verge articles have come out about the whole Facebook and the conditions and everything else goes on, that whole non-compete or non-disclosure thing was a joke. They just settled a $80 million lawsuit that pretty much everybody who worked at Facebook got money. So it's like really ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, it's that's how bad it is. And the $80 million, whatever the settlement was a mere pittance now that it's a $1 billion company. They should have been paying us out tons of money because of what they put some people through. Me personally, like I said, I don't care about a lot of crap. It doesn't faze me to see, a beheading anymore, or somebody, I mean, all kinds of stuff. The stuff in the third world countries that people would just cringe at, it became normal for us. It became every day. We became so desensitized. It was kind of like, what's really real at this point? Although, luckily, some of us who have enough mental strength would say, yeah, we know this crap isn't real. But the stuff we pull off the platform, ridiculous. So yeah, it's about the money.
Okay.
And it's a dangerous thing too.
Yeah, so do you think that the Congress should have a bigger and wider control over Facebook? Brandy first. Like, should there be more government oversight?
I think that we don't want to turn into China. And I think that, people are going to post whatever they want, and going on a platform, it's kind of like one of those things. Maybe they should have a parental control button, or if you only want to see, certain types of things, you can choose like not to see things that are considered, I don't know, rated R or whatever. But I think that sometimes when we limit ourselves to things that are going on in the world and not seeing certain things or not doing stuff, we're not exposing ourselves to reality, and we get put in this little box and we don't realize what's going on. So in some ways, I think it's good to see all these things that are going on in people's experiences, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I choose whether I want to hit play or whether I want to hit that button that has the auto play so that happens. Because if not, I can just turn off the, my app or whatever. That's my choice. I want to have that choice, that if I want to see a beheading because I want to know and visualize instead of just pushing on the rug and act like that stuff doesn't exist. For me, it's something that I want to feel for me. I want to see the evil of the world. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to be this desensitized person that lives in a bubble. So that's my choice. And I feel like that's my independence to be able to do that. And if we're going to sit here and say, we live in America, we do this, and these are our rights, then don't tell me what I can't go see. I don't want it to turn into a movie theater where I have to buy a ticket or put in a passcode to see things.
Right. And then Ivan, real quick.
Well, on that same note too, I think that like anything else, you should know what you're getting into. So if you want to use Facebook and here's the actual community standard guidelines, either you sign up for it and say, yes, I'm good with it, and you shut up, or you say, no, I don't want to look at it, and you don't deal with it. But as far as having the government come in and police it, it's almost like free speech. You can't tell me what I can and cannot say within reason. In the same respect, I don't want them to tell me what I can and cannot see on Facebook, because what you might deem again inappropriate, I might not have a problem with, and vice versa. So you can't put that personalized step into it and have the government come in and say this, and this, because it's not the same for everybody else. And if you want to be on the platform, sign up for it, sign the agreement, and be done with it. If you don't want to watch it, turn it off. It's like TV. You don't want to watch it, turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Facebook comes with they've been doing a lot to like, mitigate misinformation and things like that. Like this show got we couldn't air some ads about political topics. So like, I think they're doing their job. I think this woman's coming out of nowhere, saying nothing. It's not something that we never heard before. You know what I mean? Like we know that the internet is dangerous, but you should also fact check what you're reading. And it's really fast. So like this last topic I wanted to just jump into, this woman wrote in about first dates on Dear Abby, and she wanted to know how to get over first date awkwardness and nervousness. So like, I don't know. I have usually a first date routine that I go through, but I want to ask you guys first. Brandy, how do you get over this? Meeting someone new. How do you get over?
I like how you say, "How do you get over it?" Like I actually get over it. No, because I don't smoke or drink, so I'm going in blind. And honestly, I usually make a dinner date or a lunch date because if it's horrible, at least I want to be fed. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, if it's horrible, at least I'm shoving my face full of food and I can run out the door when the check comes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I mean, it's like one of those things I feel like, and at least if I'm enjoying something, I'll enjoy my food. Like, I'll not be nervous if I'm doing that. I just don't like the barrage of questions that is like, where do you work? What do you do? What's your DNA go like?
Right.
Like, what's your blood type? Like, get out my business. Like, if I met you on Tinder, I met you somewhere, like, let's keep it cash and let's go from there. You probably already cyber stalked me anyway. Let's be real. And let's just get through dinner and make sure you don't chew with your mouth open, because then we have a problem.
Okay. And Ivan, let me go to you. How do you get over, first date awkwardness and nervousness? What do you do? Do you have a ritual?
I don't do first dates. I say screw it. Let's just go. No, I'm just kidding. It's forget the formalities. It's okay. Well, hey, can we go out and meet sometime? Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do dinner and lunch Dutch. Look, if we get someplace and it's not working, I tell people like this: if I can't do it with you for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, it's not going to happen. So you just kind of go in there and say, hey, we're here. It's like a job interview. I try to keep it real casual, real cool, and mellow. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. See ya. I'm still going to eat. I'm still going to drink.
Jess says,
you're the lesbian I avoid.
I'm the lesbian you avoid.
I was like, what? Swipe left.
Well, no, the thing is, if I offer to take you out, if I say, hey, let's get a bite to eat, that means I'm paying for it. So that's
but you're
not
old
an issue.
school. That's not how people mean it now. You got to make sure you got to be like.
Well, that's part of it too. It's like, okay, we're going out to eat. Who's paying? You or me or both or what? So yeah, you have to straighten stuff out from the beginning, and that way you don't have all this awkwardness. Because if you can't do that, then it's not going to work out. Just my opinion.
Jess writes in, it's easy for her. She doesn't date very easy. But, I don't know. I think dating is one way to like get out there and meet different people and see what you like. I don't think there is a way to get over that nervous first date feeling. You're going to be nervous. Like, I think that you should change the energy. Like, I have a routine. I like to,
Oh, Lord.
Here we go.
No, okay, I'm ready.
I like to, listen to, some music, some Rihanna, like, what was it? Please don't stop the music. She's like, it's getting late, put yourself in the fucking mood. Because, you're like, getting sexy. It's not a regular, work thing. You should be confident in who you are, so then all of that awkwardness and nervousness, it works into what you kind of want, because then I think first dates, you get a lot of information. You get a lot of information about that person and what they're looking for, because not everyone's always looking for the same thing,
True, but it's also a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but also you have to be able to face the truth and not be scathed by that. And I think that's kind of like the theme of tonight's episode, talking about the last topics. You have to be ready to be able to feel those things, like the truth. Like if you talk to some guy and you want a monogamous relationship, and this person's talking about being polyamorous, then sugar, that's not the guy. So, or if you're talking about having kids and this person's kind of saying, that's not something I see in my life, I don't think you should, fool yourself into believing in your Cinderella and turn this person's whole world around. I think that you learn a lot on first dates. I think you should go and just treat them as fun. You're taking yourself out. Always have your own money. I don't mind going Dutch or paying for it, because, I'm paying for my own demise, basically, or my own fun. I like eating out. I think I like having people cook for me, and I feel like Princess Diana for a night. No, but someone wanted to say something about this real fast before we go. Ivan.
Oh no! I was gonna say it's like a double-edged sword, because the same thing that attracts you can also, the same thing that attracts them can also turn them away. I mean, I'm very outgoing. I'm confident. I don't have any issues. Some people think that comes across as an ego, or that I'm arrogant or conceited, which I'm not. There's a fine line. I drew it, so I should know the difference. But anyway, it's like literally the same. It's like the same thing that attracts them can turn them off later, because later on it's like, okay, well, let's move to the next level. No, there's no other level. This is who I am. So either you accept me when I am, in the beginning, and don't try to change me, or move on. It's just not going to work.
And Brandy.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that the younger generation that I realized when I was dating last year was they want to have FaceTime dates or meet up for breakfast. First off, I'm not getting up that early. Secondly, it's like, no, I don't want to be on a video with you and do a date. That's creepy. Like, what? Or let's talk to each other on the phone. I'm like, no, I want to see, do you have good skin? Do you have good teeth? I want to know, what do you like? No filters. I want to see you in your element, like, I'm not asking for your credit score. I mean, that's later, but no, I'm just saying, like, I want to see you as a real person. And so many people are scared to do a first date, or they want to meet in a group setting. And I'm like, I don't want to get to know your friends. I don't like people. Like,
that's why it's easier.
No, thanks.
Just says, I take myself out on dates. I mean, I take myself out to eat. It's a lot of fun, which I agree. I do the same thing. But I think if you're nervous on going out on first dates, like, group settings are less pressure, because let's be honest, you're going on the first date, you're thinking about having sex. Like, I've never been on a first date where it's like, let's be friends. Like, no. Like,
well, here's the thing. In all honesty,
that's the last thing I'm thinking of.
Right. But in all honesty, it's easier to just stalk somebody for about a good couple weeks. That way, when you actually meet them, you're not awkward, because you already know about them. So if you stalk them first, there's no awkwardness on your side. They don't know that you know them already. So you make it really comfortable for you, because you've stalked them for a month.
Okay, no. You need help. No,
oh my God,
one's doing that.
Okay.
That's not healthy. Yeah.
Okay, let's not say stalking. I've seen you out and about for a couple of weeks.
So my first date with my one girl. No, my first date prior to my first date with my current love, she is a police officer. Guess what she did? Ran a freaking background check on me. I was like,
stalker.
Oh,
what? She's like, well, I'm a police officer. I have to do it. I'm like, that is awkward as fuck.
Well, not really, because if you have a first and last name, Facebook is right there. You can search the web. You can search the web with a first and last name all day long. So that's not really.
I would think that they would want to know if you're like, you've committed like armed robbery. Some people, I've seen some people, I'm not going to say how I know this.
It
but
is Florida.
I've seen some people, they look like, they're friendly and they've done all this crazy shit. My ex, I'm going to say that. But no, all right, so we got to end this tonight because, I've learned a lot from everyone and I've learned a lot from, our guests. But I just kind of want to get into that because it was just very interesting to me to see how people get over first date woes. But anyways, we'll be back next week on Thursday at 7:30 with a guest that I think is going to be very fun. Yeah, Florida for you in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, exactly.
Dating in Florida is definitely an experience. But anyhow, we'll see you guys next week with some more hot topics. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Bye.
Have a good one.